So I want to welcome everybody. I know we got Memorial Day coming up real soon, so I'm wanting to wish you, before I forget, a safe and restful Memorial Day. I think we can all use it. So with everything that's been going on, I know all of you have probably been busy with your departments. I know we've been extremely busy here at Emergency Reporting. Despite all of us working remotely, it seems like our productivity has gone up. Just working from home and not having the boss looking over our shoulder and knowing we've got to get things done and be productive. So our team's been really working hard, and that includes our business intelligence team, headed up by Kevin Claussen, who is joining me today. He will be going into some of the things his team have done and will be doing with our business intelligence tool that I'm sure many of you have worked on. So before we get started, I need to say a shout out to some familiar names. Jim Wheeler out at Independence, Ohio. Ruth Woodward. Haven't seen Ruth in a while, but we spent some time on site there in Louisville, Texas. And then Sean Sims out in Pennsylvania. And Sean, I always forget your department's name, but I know you're always with us on these webinars, so it's good to have you. And I know both Jim and Sean are very active in participating in the Facebook user groups that we have. And so if you're in Ohio, Jim's kind of leading that one up, and Sean is active in the Pennsylvania users group. And Ruth, we have one for Texas too. So if you are on Facebook, you might want to check that out. And so what those groups are, we don't sponsor them per se. In other words, they're not managed or even led by emergency reporting, although I'm posting things and some of our other reps are posting things on there as well. But I've noticed, especially in the Pennsylvania group that just got started a few weeks ago, there's a lot of active participation and sharing of information there. So we're encouraging other states to create their own groups as well. And then we're also looking to create a accreditation group that anyone can join, so you can talk about how you've used emergency reporting for accreditation or even for improving your ISO score. And so we haven't started that one up yet. I'm probably going to need to get that one going and then get some people to spearhead it. But that'll segue into a lot of what we're going to talk about in later today's session when we get the BI. But the first thing I want to go over today, and again, always shoot out any questions that you have as we're going through this, and I'll have Kevin introduce himself and a little bit about what his team has been doing here in a few minutes. But the first thing I wanted to go over is on new system reports. Now, I'm not going to spend time going over every single report, but I am going to go over some of them so you can see what we've done as far as the system reports. And I imagine many of you know this because you're all power users with ER, but in the reports module, we've got report number 779. And this is a master list of reports that is continually updated. Now in the PDF version, it is sorted by module and then alphabetically by report name. But you're all Savvy users, so you're going to take that out into Excel, do the text download in the CSV file, and you're going to get this. Now I've already sorted this to sort by the report ID number descending from highest to lowest. And so what I've got here is some of the latest reports in the system. I'm just going to talk through a couple of these, make that just a little larger so it's easier on the eye. And I'm just going to talk through a few of these. It's important to know that the larger the number, the newer the report. So if I were to scroll all the way down, you're going to see that we have almost 700 reports in the system. Now, there's gaps here because some reports have been retired or have been proven obsolete. But you can see report number 3 way back in the day, probably developed back in 2004 when we were just starting out. And now we're all the way up to the 18,000 number. So that's where we're at. And I wanted to highlight a couple of these reports. Most importantly, especially with COVID and everything going on, we have report number 1797. And what that report looks like is this. So let me jump over here, and I'm going on a scrambled, what we call our integration site, which is a scrambled account for this department. So you're not going to see any PII or anything like that in Tuscaloosa. We have a great relationship with them, and Lieutenant Squires out there, he and his chief have given me permission to use their account. So we don't go into accounts without permission, especially when we're going to be doing any kind of demonstration. But here, when you run report 1797, we've got this, and it's meant to be run for really one day. So we'll run it for yesterday, okay? And when I create it, and I'm going to do it just for one station, I can do it for an apparatus too. And what this does for you is it provides the form mostly filled out, but there's going to be some elements that aren't filled out because, again, we want to leave that up to you to do it. But I want to show you in Adobe Reader how you can do it. You don't need to purchase a PDF editor to complete this form to save it in your files for submission to FEMA for reimbursement with the CARES Act and then the grants that are being offered to departments. So we'll let that run, and it always runs slow on this site. So I'm going to hope, oh, you know what we need to do? Let's do this. Let's go out into a live account. It's just going to be a happier thing. And we will do that. It'll run, and that's where we test. That site you just saw is where we test accounts. Whoops, where we test accounts. And it runs differently than our main site, which I'm going to go to now. And I want to show you that report in case any of you have not run it yet. You might want to take a look at it, and I'm going to run you through really quickly how to do it in Adobe Reader, and then we'll press on. And they're a busy, busy department. So we're going to go here and just pick one apparatus, engine 30, and we should get a nice quick report. So this is what I wanted to show you. So what we have here is it's filling out everything from the daily log. We have had some suggestions where people would like the end date in here as well. So we're exploring that. What I'm going to do now, this is where you don't need to do an Excel or text download. You're going to do a PDF. So we're going to PDF download. I'm going to open it. And then in Adobe Reader, now I'm on a Mac, but the functionality should be very similar, if not identical on Windows, just the position of the toolbars and such may be different. You go to this icon, fill and sign, okay, and then you'll start filling in, and because it's not an incident, okay, not like a major wildland incident or hazmat incident, a lot of departments are just putting in COVID, and then station 30 or apparatus. Some are doing it per apparatus, and then you can work your way through all of the other fields that aren't filled in for you, and then click on sign, bring in your signature, and you'll be good to go. Now, one other thing that will fill in, I'm logged in as a support tech. Your name will be here, and your rank from the rank table will be here as well. So once you get that completed, then you'll save it as, and my recommendation is to always save these documents if you're going to store them either in the emergency reporting library or elsewhere for submission to FEMA later on, is to use this format. And it keeps it chronological. So year, day, month, year, month, day, and that way they'll be sorted nice alphabetically. If you're going to use the word for the months, it's going to scramble your order and you'll be frustrated. So that's just a recommendation there, and that's report 1797. Now I know our focus here is on data visualization today, but I wanted to just bring up some of these newer reports for you. A couple others that we're going to take a look at. You'll notice that from 1798, the last 5 reports, if you use our EPCR, the NEMSIS 3, we are finally getting through some really great reports. Our backlog has been busy, but we're trying to migrate, or I should say clone is the better word, because we're not retiring those other reports. But if for NEMSIS 2, we had all these great reports for reporting your EPCR and your EMS. And so now we're updating them to pull data from your NEMSIS 3. And so these last 5, patient age breakdown for age range, transferred patient count per destination type for date range, incidents per personnel for procedures for date range, count of patient procedures for date range, and incidents per patient disposition are now in the NEMSIS 3 reporting. And so what that report looks like is this. And let's see, which one should we pick? That's a good one. Let's go with patient age breakdown. That's always kind of an interesting one. So if I want to see for 2020 so far, we'll start with age 1, actually with 0 to include infants, to say 101. We'll create this report, and it's going to break down in a very high level simple table. And like I said, they run slower here on. And so because I have a long range, the chart itself is not super helpful when you look at it here, but the tables are. And then you've got a breakdown on the left, how many patients you had at that age, and then the incidents that correspond to that. And so that's what makes this report very long. But if you wanted to just look, say, at your senior population, say we wanted to look at age 60 to 101, we get a little different look. And this one's a lot more usable to show you your breakdown of patients. And again, it's always nice to have that visualization. So when we have these reports with charts, I know a lot of you have a smile on your face because you don't have to go and create the chart. So the couple tips here is don't forget report 779 to stay up to date on all the reports. And then we announced them in our Update ER newsletter, which is the next one's coming out here next week. And we also have updates in the system. So one of the things when you log in, go to the live account. One of the things when you log in here is you're going to see the system update. And I imagine most of you joining us today are well aware of this, but in case you aren't, when you click here, you're going to see when maintenance, system slowness, updates, and all of that. But these system updates, when you click, it's going to take you to Zendesk. And if you're already logged in, you're going to jump right to it. And this is a summary of all the changes in text format. So what we do is we take the high points, especially new things, and we put them in our Update ER newsletter. So hopefully all of you are subscribed to that Update ER newsletter. Any questions on reports? So anything that you're running into, any questions that I can address here today, because there's not going to be a need to go the full hour today. We just want to hit some highlights, get you up to speed, and respect your time so you can kind of push on into the weekend here soon. Any questions on reports? Nothing today? Okay. So what I'd like to do next is introduce my partner in crime, Kevin Claussen. Kevin, how are you today?
Doing well, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. And I don't know if I know you had talked about maybe bringing in some of the members of your team, but I imagine they're still hard at work cranking out code to make this all work. So is it just you?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be me. Dave might be able to pop in, but I think both guys are busy this morning.
Okay, awesome. So guys, you guys are very privileged today to have Kevin Claussen. He is a product owner for our business intelligence and analytics project or ongoing project. And Kevin, just maybe share a little bit about who you are, what you're doing here with emergency reporting in your current role.
Sure. So I've been with emergency reporting coming up on probably 15 months. And let's see, started in the biz dev section and did a lot of work with our sales and marketing team and business intelligence internally. And then I've transitioned over as a product owner and have been working on all of our BI and analytics projects since then.
And so many of you are wondering, what in the world is a product owner? So what a product owner is think of a project manager. The ownership, the title owner comes from the agile software development process that we follow. And the owner is truly responsible not only for that part of our system. So in this case, Kevin is responsible for the BI component, which we're going to jump into here momentarily. But he's also the guiding light for the team, right? He's analyzing everything, he's looking at the big picture, and he helps direct based on customer feature requests, based on business case for updates and changes to the system. He has to address all of that and come up with an ongoing plan to add new things to the system, and not only new things, but to keep the things that are there working well. So it's a really important role. All of our product owners have a really vital role in ensuring our product is up to date. We're listening to the customer and doing our best to make it a product you guys love to use. So Kevin's really instrumental there. So he's going to talk, I'm going to drive, we're going to talk together and go through an overview of the analytics tool. It doesn't take long to go through, but we're going to kind of click around and show you some of the functionality as we go through it as we do this. And we're going to start off right out of the gate by clicking on analytics. and it's going to land. So what it does here, one thing I want you guys to know is whatever page you were on last, if it was response or safety, it will take you there. Right now, it doesn't auto load back to BI Basic because a lot of you will be visiting that. So it will take at the time, right now, it will take one more click to go back into BI Basic. And so if you think something's broken, because historically, if you were at safety and left it and came back, you know, it would land right there on that page, or if you were on response, it would go there. Right now, the way BI is built, it doesn't take you there if that was the last page you visited. So nothing's broken, it just hasn't been built into the system yet. So we have 5, they're reports in the Microsoft Power BI world. These are called reports. I like to still call them dashboards because it just makes sense to me, but technically they're reports. They're dynamic reports as opposed to our system reports. You might hear these called static reports, 2D reports. What's that other term, Kevin, on these?
Paginated reports, maybe?
Paginated reports. That's it,
Yeah.
paginated reports. And so because they're pages, you scroll through them, and you know they're more static reports. These are more dynamic, where you get to play and do a lot more with it. And what Kevin will talk about a little bit later is where this project is going and some of the things that are going to be coming out in the months ahead. So the first one we want to visit is incident volume. And I'm just going to cut to the chase here, and we're going to go to the brand new one that was released 2 days ago.
There we go.
And we'll talk about these other ones, but those of you that are pursuing, you're all pursuing excellence. Many of you are also pursuing or going for pursuing accreditation or going for reaccreditation. And so this is like, I wouldn't call it quite the holy grail, but kind of close. So here's our percentile report. There's a lot going on with the data warehouse here, so be patient with it as it loads. And between me and Kevin, we're going to talk you through how this all works and what it does here. All right, so first things first, we want to ask ourselves, what do we want to measure today? What percentile do we want to measure? It defaults to response time because that is the most commonly used one. So we're going to stick with response time. We're going to talk about our effective response force. Now, one of the things, talking with Derek, who is one of the lead, if not the lead developer on this, super smart guy, and amazing what he can do here in Power BI. And we're talking effective response force, but we know for accreditation, and this drives us all a little crazy, they want suppression capable vehicles to count towards that effective response force and personnel, right? So we're going to say we need 15 people on the scene, and we're going to go with the time to getting them there, say 12 minutes, and we want to see where it lands on the as far as a 90th percentile goes. Okay, so it's going to redraw. You can see here you've got the little circle of dots in motion. Okay, and so we might need to drop that down. Every department's going to have different numbers of people on the scene, so let's go with 9 and see how that changes, because it's looking for the whole 15 people on the scene. But remember, we've got to filter this further. All right, so let me show you real quick here what this is going to look like filtered. We have to go to our slicers, okay? And we just want to include, say, and this is based on the NFIRS apparatus types. So I want ground suppression for sure, okay? And maybe I'm just counting those trucks, okay? Now, for me, I want to count my medical and rescue units because those are fire guys on there too, right? So let me throw those down. And you might be wondering, when you do this, well, heck, if I click one, it turns the others off. Just hold down Control or Command if you're on a Mac, and you can do multi-select. And so now what we're doing here is we are including just those apparatus, okay? Other slicers, we don't want all incidents. We just want to look at I'm in Safari. I probably made a mistake going into Safari because it gets a little wonky here sometimes in
The
Safari
other
on
thing too is you're in int, and int kind of chugs compared to production.
Yeah, so maybe we could go to live. Let's do that because that'll be a happier day. Let's see here. It just runs faster. So remember, that's our testing platform there. So we're going to play here, guys. And it's all loading back there. It's just for the respect your time, I want to like knock this baby out and show you what it's capable of. So we'll bounce back here. Same thing, incident volume. Now, depending on how you've zoomed your screen, don't forget about these tabs down here, right? They're down here at the bottom because of how the page is designed, and you've got 4 of them. We'll bounce to COVID a little bit later, but like I said, this is where we wanted to be today for visualization. So let's try this again. We're going to go with 10. We're going to say 15, 90% of the time, and I'm going to slice this down, and I'm going to want just, I hate you, Safari. And again, it could be preventing me from doing that because it's rendering right now, but too close for missiles, switching to guns. Going to Chrome.
Hey, Tom, and just to add on to what you said about those page links down at the bottom, they're also accessible on the left nav bar, the gray nav bar. There's an icon that says pages that will pop up a menu similar to the slicer menu that also has those page links as well.
Excellent. I'll show you that. That's a great point, Kevin. Thank you for that. Awesome. Okay, so let's go there. Guys, thanks for your patience. So what I encountered is not an ER issue. It is a Tom and Mac and Safari issue here. And so I've noticed this on a couple other things. So if any of you work on a Mac, sometimes things don't render. Okay, see, it just took time to render there, but I'm still going back to Chrome, and it still may take time. So we'll play it. We'll see what happens. Okay, I've got to go to, so what Kevin is saying is pages, right, Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go here to percentile, toggle right over, and we're just building up anticipation here. That's why I'm doing this.
Exactly.
This is all intentional. Okay, so it may still do the same thing. Yep, so that's kind of cool. It renders first, and then it's going to give you the choices, or eventually give you the choices. So we're going to go that and medical rescue units. And again, we give you enough slicers here to filter as you see fit. I'm going to run it for the whole department, but all I care about is incident type. And so we'll give it a sec to give me that, and we'll run it for incident type. Keep in mind, guys, there's a lot of crunching going on in the background, a lot of processing of numbers and analyzing all of your incident data here. So be patient with it. We're so used to kind of a technology instant gratification, and of course, coming from the fire service, that's kind of our nature in a way. So just be patient with it, let it process, and you'll be happy with what you see once we get it going. So we're going to do structure fires. And of course, I could filter by population density, but I don't want to do that. And then now we're going to close this baby out. And you can see we're not quite there to getting the 10 people on scene within 15 minutes. So where are we? Let's try 20. Okay, let's try 20 and see how it re-renders. 29 is doing pretty good, station 29. Okay, so 48% of incidents met the 20-minute with an effective response force of 10 personnel. Okay, and that's looking at the structure fire, getting all those people on the scene at that time. But now remember, with BI tools, these are dynamic. So I want to just look at 29. I click once on 29, and the whole table is going to filter. And so they had structure fires July, August, and September, and they were 100%. So all of their incidents, they got the 10 people from station 29 on the scene. So far, so good on this. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions? Kevin, anything you'd like to add on this?
I don't see any questions here. One thing I just want to stress is that, as is everything else, business intelligence, we love feedback, we love input. This is something that I've been hearing about since my first day at emergency reporting. I'm really happy to have this out here. Like Tom said, there's a lot of computations and crunching that goes on there, as well as the need for flexibility. So we've tried to design this tool to be as flexible as possible, because departments like to tweak it this way or that way, and everybody's numbers or guidelines are a little bit different. So we really try to make this as flexible as possible and do value any feedback that you guys have.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that we tried to go through this and provide the parameters that we think from our customer feedback and what we think will help serve you the best. Excuse me, but if you see something that's missing, that's where you can communicate with us. One of the things, there's a lot of venues to communicate with us. One of the things I need to show you real quick, and again, it's just because it's another venue for communicating, is here. If you go into, allow me to bounce over here real quick here. So this is our support portal. You don't see this page because this is for support text, but you do see this, our Customer Success Center. In Community, you can subscribe to any of these. Now, I just posted in my corner the percentile BI. So I try to keep things, at least, well, monthly, hopefully more frequently. Things are so busy, but a little update here. And so you can actually go in here and follow it and follow either this message or follow that particular forum. And when something is posted, either from a participant or from the manager or the moderator of that forum, you can stay informed. There's a lot of ways we try to communicate and stay up to date with our customers, but this is just one option for you to explore. So I encourage you to, once you're in the Customer Success Center, to take a look at all of these, and you can follow any of these, and you can follow it the whole group or just a certain post if there's something you're interested in, and then also if you've submitted or are eager to get a feature request into the system that someone else has already posted, you can throw down your comments here as well. So I just wanted to put that out there to you. Okay, let's go back here. Let's do turnout times. Okay, so this will definitely be 100% at 20 minutes. Okay, and Kevin, I wanted to ask you this: does effective response force play into this as well? Because we're not on scene yet. This is just turnout time. So I just was curious if this plays a role or not. Ultimately,
I think it does. I think it's still part of the computation, but on turnout, I don't know if that's filtered off. That would be a Derek.
Derek.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can find out.
I'm not 100%. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
we could, change the numbers right now and see. I think that would, it really depends on how you set it up.
Yeah, so we're going to do this. We're going to run this. So I'm going to change it to 2, turnout time, 2 minutes, 90 percentile, and then we're going to do some slicing here. All right, from 2018 to current, and I want all apparatus. So I'm going to select all, and let's say we want all the stations up right now, and then we want all incidents as well. We've already got a feature request on this one, Kevin. I talked to a customer and they asked me the following: could we put a time slicer in there? And the reason for that is departments have different time periods from, like, say, shift change 0800 to 10 p.m. Say they have a 90-second turnout time, but then they give a grace period for an additional 30 seconds after. And so the ability to slice by time period is something to consider in the future, especially as it pertains to turnout time. So something to bounce your way with your team.
So time period meaning shift, or you just want to be able to set the actual hours?
Basically a start and end time would be probably the most flexible
Okay.
for most people. And the people participating here today can kind of chime in, but I would say probably a start time and an end time would be the best for most agencies. That way they have full flexibility on what range of time they put in and only capture those incidents during that time period, because then they can adjust the time goal. So check this out. That's kind of a cool data set here. So turnout times, I picked all units, all incident types. Okay, so we had a little thing here on October, and the way it's looking back at the time, and I'll be curious to see why 2019 and 2020 aren't popping up. There's probably something I did in the selection that precluded that. So let's see why it would do that. I don't have an answer as to why it's doing that right now. I'll have to figure that out.
We'll have to look at that.
But again, I can go in and see that we did really well in March of 2018.
All your incidents are reviewed, right?
They should be. They're pretty diligent. They're extreme. There it
Okay.
goes. That is so weird. They have to be all reviewed for, in Orange County, these guys are strict. Here
Okay.
we go. Interesting. I wonder if it was just taking time to render, Kevin. I bet that's what it
Could have
was.
been.
Cool. So check it out.
Could have been.
They're killing it on turnout times. Got a little issue going on here in May. So, and again, we've got an issue with other agencies popping in on their zones. So that could be dropping their turnout times and how it's being measured. And they probably have to go in and update some of that data perhaps. But yeah,
as well.
Yeah, super cool. Yeah, so it must have just taken a little time to render. Like I said, guys, I can't emphasize enough in talking with Kevin and his team. There is so much calculations going on in the background here. And those of you that have taken any of the data analysis class that SIPSI puts on, you know with working in spreadsheets how hard this is to get 90th percentile going. And so be patient with the system, but it's getting it done and it's pulling it from the data warehouse. So what it doesn't do is slow down the rest of the system. And that's the key thing with the data warehouse. Those of you that are techies, we basically put this into the data is it's stored just like it would be in the system, but in a data warehouse. And then this part of our system goes to the data warehouse, not to the main database. And so therefore you don't see a performance degradation in the rest of the system. Otherwise there would be degradation. And then secondly, you need to know that this is updated Q 24 hours. So you're looking at 24-hour-old data, which talking to our customers was more than satisfactory for nearly all of them, if not all of them, right, Kevin?
Absolutely, and there's a few reasons that we do it that way. Like you mentioned, the difference between our production database and our data warehouse. The production database is optimized for data to be routed and put away quickly and efficiently, whereas the data warehouse has to have business logic applied to essentially stitch all of that stored together data back together. So the best analogy I give anybody is, my dog is just throwing up a hairball right now. Sorry about that. So the best analogy I give people is if you think about it as like grocery shopping, you get a bunch of groceries home and you can quickly put them away everywhere they go in your house, but that's not going to look the same as a prepared meal, which is essentially what we are trying to provide, is a prepared meal where everything has been properly reassembled to provide actionable insights. And the other portion of that is, tying back to what you said about the 24-hour refresh. The business intelligence is meant to be indicative of patterns and trends over time. And so we do occasionally get somebody that says, hey, I updated this one incident last night at 11:35 and I'm not seeing it this morning. It'll probably be there tomorrow. It probably just missed the refresh boat. But the idea is that you're looking at hundreds or thousands or even millions of incidents, and one isn't going to be a huge blip. So if it's by end of business day yesterday, everybody understands that when they're looking for patterns and trends.
Outstanding. Okay, thanks. That explanation is super helpful and great analogy, Kevin. All right, before we're done here, I have a feeling you're going to be thinking, well, I want to go see where we're having issues. I'm going to click on May. So what I did is I went to alarm processing time, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, and so we have some laggards here. All right, so what I can do is the following. I can go in and export the data. And it prompts you to say, would you like to export summarized data, underlying data? I'm going to go with summarized. Okay, and I can do a CSV. We like CSVs because it's unformatted, easy to work with. Your data has been exported, goes to your download folder. And so now I have the data here if I need to work with it and make some static charts or anything else that I might need to work with. So that's how it downloads there. But the other thing, and that's how the data is downloaded there based on what's being presented in the various cards or tiles here. And what's the preferred term, Kevin, when we're talking, if we want to talk smart about it? Are they cards or tiles, or does it matter?
They would be visuals. So if we're talking about the layout of the screen, the numbers up in the right-hand corner where your mouse is right now, those are cards, and those are going to be dynamic where they'll shift based on whatever you're interacting with, but those aren't interactive. So the other visuals, the bar charts and things like that, if you touch them, they'll interact, but then the cards up at the top that are just the numbers, they shift, but they won't interact if you select them.
Excellent. Okay, so now on this page, Kevin,
I was going to say, Tom, one more thing, just to be able to drill down a little bit further with what you just showed with the data export and the incidents. That
right.
If you export from that visual, it's going to give you the rolled up or aggregated data. If you want the underlying data on a table, if you click on the details now, it will carry over all of your filtered settings, and then that's going to show you, that should show you the underlying table data. So if you click on that, it should pop up, and these
that's where I was going next. Perfect,
okay.
Because what we want to see. No, that's good. No, that's
Uh,
where I was going anyway. So that's
Perfect.
good. And so now you see all of the incident data based on what's been filtered or sliced in the dashboard itself. And then so you can take this out and take a look at what's going on. And the next question I'm expecting, I'm going to preempt it. I want to go into that incident like we do in response analytics, right? Our team's looking into that. So Kevin maybe can illuminate a little bit more on what's going on there, but we have been asked, well, I want to be able to click through straight to that incident. So that's a challenge, but it's something that they're looking into, right, Kevin?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just a dependent task. So if we review occupancies, you'll see that the occupancies do have an active hyperlink that's going to take you directly to that occupancy record page in emergency reporting. The reason that incidents aren't done yet is we are doing an upgrade to our incidents module and changing some of the code that it's written in. And that's also going to change how the links to those pages are stored. So once that rewrite is done in that section of the incident module of emergency reporting, this will also connect to that the same way it does to occupancies.
Excellent.
And so the occupancies in emergency reporting have been rewritten. The incidents haven't yet, but once they are, it'll all work the same way.
Awesome. So one thing I want to mention too is, and you may have heard me say this in other presentations, but software is never finished. There's always new iterations coming. Now, right now, we release every 2 weeks. We also do hot fixes in between those 2 weeks. And now we're looking to do even, there's a lot of conversation about doing more frequent releases. So we're just constantly meeting customers' requests and needs on a more frequent basis, which is going to challenge all of us for sure, especially our development team. But that's the path we're looking at. So what we should do next, in the interest of time, does anyone have any questions on the percentile report? Kevin, anything else you'd like to add?
No, the only other thing is just the toggle in the lower left-hand corner, the reviewed only. Just to reiterate to people that you can toggle that, and that allows you to see the difference between your reports, or I'm sorry, your incidents that are completed but have not been reviewed yet, and then you can toggle it to show the reviewed as well. That was an example of early on feedback that we received from people. They said, hey, you're missing a bunch of our incidents, and what it turned out to be is we were only pulling the reviewed, and people wanted to see the completed that hadn't been reviewed yet, so we added that feature in. And then the last piece would be the question mark with the circle. This one is not active yet, shoot. But what these will do on all of the other reports is they will take you directly to our KBAs, our knowledge base articles on how to
Oh,
use it.
it's active. It's active, buddy. It just
Okay.
I wasn't logged in here on Chrome.
Gotcha. Okay, so with this one, this will show you the incidents module. I just need to update it for the new 90th percentile. COVID should be in there. That 90th percentile needs to be updated. But if you ever have any questions or get stuck, this is an excellent way to just quick link into the how-tos and the walkthroughs that kind of breaks down the screen for you and how to use the reports, how to do multi-select, how to clear, how to do just about everything.
And I just put that link in there. So in the chat, if you guys want to check it out. Not now, we're not done yet. Do it after we're done. I love this little UI, this UI here. For me, I'm very visual on my learning. And so the little yellow check, that corresponds to the completed status of yellow. And then the green reviewed. It's those little things that just make the whole thing more enjoyable. So props to your team, Kevin.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, going to COVID, and then we're going to go over to maintenance and call it a wrap for today. COVID. All right, so this particular agency, here we go. Got a map view. Now, if I click into it, and you just have to tap twice, and it's going to drill down and show you a heat map where the calls are. Now, it's showing every single incident, right? So if I want to just see where I have suspected COVID, it's going to redraw it and show me my number of incidents here. Okay, and of course I can filter by incident type. And I use the term filter, and I know slicer is the term in the BI world, but they're essentially the same. You're filtering, slicing and dicing the data to get it down to what you need to know. So if we want to see where we've got 83 confirmed, where are they located? Maybe those are nursing homes. Okay, and the types of calls that we encountered. And then station 50's got the most. So little things like that. This is agency specific with visuals. Okay, and the map is always a very powerful tool in business intelligence here. So this is a very easy way to tell your story internally. So if 50's running a lot of traffic that are confirmed COVID, that PPE, they're going to be consuming maybe more PPE, or they're going to need to take additional precautions in their first due. Again, just an example. Okay, next up, we're going to go back out to, now to go back out, I've got to click on BI Basic, and we're going to take a look at the maintenance. Actually, let's do occupancy for this. We'll do occupancy, and then I'll do them both, because I may have to go to another account to look at the other ones. But this one lets you see, and they're extremely active in doing pre-incident planning. They have, you can see 30,000 occupancies. They use our Vision product, and 98 or 99% of their occupancies have an OVAP score, which is ridiculous because they've got their engine crews going out there and getting it done. And so you can see here, I can drill in, zoom in, zoom out, and then of course, filter by occupancy type. That is not the category or subcategory. This is the type in the drop down on the info page. It's important to know that the type, not the category. And then you can see days since last inspected. And then fire protection systems are included here as well. Inspections is the other page. And you can see the average duration spent on an inspection, the number of inspections, total time estimate, total time spent, the personnel that did it, and you can see the inspection they do, pre-incident planning, building walkthroughs, how much time they've spent on it. That's just crazy. But I'm seeing it visually, and again, yours is probably going to show all the different inspection types that you have. And then you can filter in and drill down. That's that one. And again, just playing with this and exporting it and playing with the filters, you'll get comfortable with it. Remember, my analogy is always like donning an SCBA for the first time. There's a little initial disorientation period, so you get your hands on it, start playing with it, doing it, practicing it, and then all of a sudden you've got that down in less than 30 seconds and you're a pro at donning your SCBA, and you're doing it safely and smartly. So you get good, and then you get fast, and that's how it is playing here in the business intelligence tool. Be patient with yourself, practice with it, and the next thing you know, you're going to be your agency's expert on it. Okay, last one we'll do, and then we'll call it a wrap for today, is right here.
Hey, Tom, I just wanted to, on the occupancies, two
Sure.
things. One,
Let's go back.
Similar toggle to the incidents. This one is going to be archived showing and archived hidden. And the reason that we did that is because this was another example of user feedback helping shape the product. We originally took the archived occupancies to be not used by departments. And what we found is that if you archived the building, that was Jimmy's Pizza and is now Joe's Burgers, you would hide or lose all the inspections from that same building when it was Jimmy's Pizza. So the other thing that we figured out is that some departments use it that way. Some departments use archiving as a means of hiding without actually deleting. So we put that toggle in there based on feedback that everybody gave us, saying we'd really like the ability to have this, so we put it in there. And then the other thing is, if you wanted to click on the details, you could show them the hyperlink real quick. So essentially, that's occupancy name that you could click directly on that, and it'll take you directly to the ER page link. The only thing I want to stress is that, again, it wouldn't be instant gratification. So if you're trying to do some data cleaning and you say, hey, this code isn't the code I want it to be, I'm going to click on this occupancy and change that. If you come back to this, it won't show those changes for probably 24 hours. And I just want everybody to be mindful of that.
Yep, that's the key thing here. And when people ask you internally about it, just say it's because of how we're managing the data with the data warehouse. So yes, the production and main database, we're not tapping it directly where it would be updated immediately, because the performance of the system, when you have 7,000, we have over 7,100 now agencies using us. it would cause issues, and so the data warehouse precludes those issues. But at the same time, it creates that delay. But we found that delay is more than acceptable by just about everybody we talk to. So that's an outstanding point. And this link here is, again, just super helpful because you can go straight to that particular occupancy. Love it.
And just wanted to build on what you said. As far as getting people confident with using this system in BI Basic, I just want to stress to everybody, you can't change data from BI Basic. You can't overwrite data. You can't screw anything up. So the only way that you could actually get to change data is if you click on one of these hyperlinks and go into the system page and actually change it. But from BI Basic, you don't have write capabilities. You're not overwriting data. So if you go in and play around and sift through all the filters and slicers and views and pages, you're not going to break anything. And even if you get to a place where you're like, shoot, I don't remember all the filters I have on, I don't know the view, that reset button takes you back to square one and you can't break anything. So please get in, get your feet wet, feel comfortable, play around, give us feedback. We love having feedback. We realize that not everything is going to be perfect out of the gate, but what we're trying to do is get a stake out there for each key report. So we got incidents out there. We got an EMS out there. Then we went after, I think it was training and maintenance. And we've gone after all these reports. But one of the other things that we've done is gone back and reiterated the previous reports that we've put out. So incidents was our first one, but we've updated that probably 10 times since then, maybe 12.
And there's going to be many more updates coming.
Yes. So keep the feedback coming. We love building products that are useful and make people's lives and jobs easier. All right, now
Kevin, no, that's fantastic. That insight is great, and that make that reset button your friend, because I'm clicking around and I just want to start over. So hit the reset button. And again, here in Apparatus, you get a status look at the state of your fleet very quickly. And I haven't even had a chance to play in this as much as I would like, but our ground fire suppression, we can see here, okay, engines 9 out of 15, and this is looking at its in service and out of service status. And so we got a 60% threshold, 9 of them are out of service, right, Kevin?
Correct. Or it'd be 6 of them out of service, right?
9 are in service, I stand
right.
corrected. And so you can kind of see what's what here.
3 columns, whether it's the apparatus status or the equipment, and then if it's fully equipped status.
And Kevin, what determines fully equipped versus not fully equipped? How is that determined?
Fully equipped means that the apparatus is in service and that all of the equipment assigned to it has go status for equipped. So basically,
all the equipment assigned to engine 2 here, and it's just showing 1 directly assigned in this case. I probably should let's go to central. And so here on central, what Kevin's saying is that if they've assigned, and they may not have assigned in a lot of cases the piece of equipment, but if that piece of equipment is assigned to that truck and it is in service status, you got a green check mark here.
Yeah, you can expand on the right box over on the right-hand side where it says equipment. You just expand any of those and it'll show them, that it breaks it down into categories, subcategory, and then you can drill down into further category all the way down to the piece of equipment name, and then you can see the status on that particular piece of equipment. So sometimes it could be something as simple as, a 2-inch hose on one of the engines is, not checked off on, and you just need to get it checked off on and back in service. And then the other thing too is if you want to show the drill through.
Say that again, Kevin?
The drill through.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done drill through on this yet? So let me know when you're ready.
I click the drill down. So you're going to click the drill down button.
So on if you are going to look at, let's say, one of the engines, if you're going to go to, let's say, E1, right click on E1 and then drill through. There you go. And you can go to either the apparatus or the equipment. And what this is going to do is take you into a drilled down version of whatever you're looking at. And in the upper left-hand box, it's going to give you a very clear statement of where you are. You're in apparatus E1. The category is multiple selected. The subcategory is multiple selected. But this will give you and this might not be the best example, but this will give you the drilled into view of anything you're looking at. So for some apparatus, we'll have an engine that has 47 pieces of equipment on it. Or this is how you would see if the truck has had all its service records. So this allows you to drill through into either the equipment or the apparatus details, and this will take you deeper down that rabbit hole versus the other page that we were on is a great rolled up aggregate view of your fleet readiness, but this actually gets you into the nitty gritty. Does that make sense?
It does, and it gets you down into the vehicle itself and the equipment on the vehicle. And keep in mind, you can see the value of having good data in the system, because if you don't have good data and everything updated on where pieces of equipment are assigned, their current status, this doesn't become as meaningful, because can you trust it? Because the data here in the maintenance module is not up to date. So again, it goes back to good data in, good data out. So that is a pretty high level look with a couple deep dives into a few components into our BI Basic. To close out, what I'd like to have Kevin do is kind of just illustrate what you're able to tell, Kevin, as far as where this is going and what BI Pro and BI Enterprise is going to entail in the months ahead.
Sure. So right now, we are rounding out our BI Basic offering as far as getting those initial stakes on the map and then making those improvements. We are currently working on our group reporting, which is going to be aggregate roll-ups beyond this that will go to levels of either county or state or DoD or wherever whatever entity it is, and then how that would work. And then as far as the Pro and the Enterprise, those are still stakes on a roadmap. And what we're doing is evaluating the need of the marketplace and our customers and what they truly need. So, there will probably be an unlimited offering that we haven't quite finalized, as well as a really, really heavy everything, including the kitchen sink option. And we just haven't mapped those out because we are trying to get the need. We don't want to say this is exactly what it's going to be until we know that it meets the needs of our customers. So we've started with BI Basic as a way to, oh, we have a question. We started BI Basic as a way to get this out there and start the conversation. And in any exploratory data analysis or BI that we do, we start with what is the question, what is the story that we're trying to tell, and then walk through it with our user and find out more the rabbit holes that they want to go down into and the visuals that they need to see and what has value to them. So thank you very much for your help. I appreciate it. I would love more feedback. This is truly something that is helped shape by our user's voice. And yeah, keep the feedback coming. Use the feedback button in the upper right-hand corner. The only thing I would ask is right now that doesn't capture your name and email. So sometimes I get feedback that says, hey, this doesn't make sense with my department, or this number doesn't match. Well, we have no clue where to follow up based on that. So if I can at least get in contact with you, I absolutely will reach out to you, and we can talk through whatever questions you have and hopefully get you a satisfactory answer and implement your feedback into our product.
Awesome, Kevin. Thank you very much. I'm going to, yeah, I got a question. Yeah, in the ICS forms, it only lists the details from the daily log. I have a number of COVID-19 activity codes that do not show up. So so anything you select, Jerry, in those for activity codes for that time frame that you select should appear in that list. So all of them will appear. So if you're asking to show the title of the activity code in that report, that is something that product owner has considered as well. And I'd have to check with her to see the status on that. Is that what you're pertaining to? Because all the codes, all of the description of the codes, the details show up, but you wanting the title of the actual activity code, is that true? And if so, the other ask that we've heard from this one is the ability to just put in certain activity codes. So there's no filter on that report that allows you to pick, and I'll just go there. There's not a filter currently to filter by activity code. So that's been another ask as well. So am I interpreting your question correctly? And that's assuming Jerry's still here. Yes, he is. Cases where just an activity code is chosen. Yeah. Okay, so having that activity code not only being able to be filtered, but also to display. Okay, so I'll definitely pass that on to that product owner. Her name's Brittany, so we'll talk with her and see where her plans are to update this report, because I know there are some plans for this report. Well, Kevin, thanks for being part of this webinar, guys. We're going to take a hiatus until July on online educational webinars, but coming back in July, we've got the topics already lined up. We'll probably do another one on business intelligence, and we're going to start back up with a 2020 summer boot camp in July. So look for announcements on that. So until then, have a safe, restful Memorial Day. Thank you for spending time. This actually did go closer to the hour because one of questions, and also just there's a lot to cover. And glad you were able to take time with us today, get an update on the latest in system reports, and also get an update on our business intelligence tools, especially the new percentile reporting, and then having our product owner, Kevin, here to deep dive further with us. So thank you, everybody. Kevin, thank you, and we'll catch you all again. We'll catch you here soon.
Take care, everybody.